G'day, everybody. Hope you've had a fantastic week and you're ready for the week ahead with Bitcoin and the markets. It's been an increasingly bullish sentiment being brought to us. Last week, of course, we did see some wonderful things in the move of Bitcoin and many alts as well. And I'm going to take you to show you exactly what happened and what I think is going to happen this week as well. But before I do that, I wanted to bring forward a couple of things that you'll have read in this email already as you're on the free newsletter. Bullish undercurrents continue, and I spoke of it last week with this amazing groundswell of positive coming out of the US and globally. We see more and more coating the liner of Bitcoin every single week, and this week we go straight to the SEC. The new chair of the SEC has come in, and in his first address, he has already talked about, and I quote, what does he say? He said that a firm regulatory foundation for digital assets is what his focus is going to be, or it's one of his first priorities. Now, compare this to what we have had in the past, where we have seen the US SEC coming in and essentially just throwing out all sorts of big threats, big court cases that eventuated to nothing in pretty much every single case. It just cost the industry, it slowed things down, and it made it increasingly difficult for business to be done in the digital asset space in the United States of America. Of course, companies would flee America because, well, not only was there the threat of persecution, but there was no real rules set in place so that they could work within a framework to do the right thing. We've seen most of those, if not all of those cases dropped. So they've been dropped. We've got a positive digital asset person in there who's bullish on crypto, or at least forward thinking enough to see business flowing into the US through our digital asset space. We saw Blackrock and its ETF re-enter with some big buying power. Of course, it was one of the best buying periods since the ETF launch, which of course means more Bitcoin in the coffers of the ETF, less on the market. Therefore, a squeeze on liquidity is possibly on the horizon. Yeah, when the Bitcoin ETF from Blackrock starts to be bought up, we tend to see positive things happen from the market. And finally, MicroStrategy bought up another 15,000 or $1.42 billion worth of Bitcoin. And Michael Saylor has said that he will not be selling. So once again, a squeeze on the liquidity. When we consider there's only 2,500 or so Bitcoin that are mined per day, we are seeing a lot snapped up through MicroStrategy and these ETFs. Less on the market, well, based on supply and demand principles. Less supply, more demand, price goes higher. And that's what we've seen on the chart. So all that positive news equates to one thing. It equates to a bullish looking Bitcoin chart. We haven't seen momentum like this for Bitcoin for a very, very long time. I spoke on my video last week as we busted up through these levels. We got through 89,000, we got up through 91,000, and then we didn't really slow down. We just went sideways. The pullback that we saw, if you can really call it that, saw a low of 92,750. Did not come back and test 91,000. Not to say that it won't do that, but it did not last week. When sellers came in, buyers scooped it back up. And what we had seen in the past quite frequently was we'd see a bunch of buying met by a bunch of selling. Buying met by selling. Buying met by selling. Not this time. We're seeing buying met by more buying, which has put us into a daily uptrend on Bitcoin. As far as the weekly chart goes, however, well, it's not in an uptrend. There's a lower high, there's a lower low, then there's a higher high. We still need to wait for that higher low on the weekly, but last week closing up 10% was certainly a step in the right direction. Currently this week up 1% for Bitcoin right now, but we will come to the monthly now because that is the chart that I've been speaking to for a very, very long time. We pull back into the cradle zone on the monthly time frame. Now, you heard me say it plenty of times before, Bitcoin will not always do what you expect it to do, but we've got trends that we can watch and learn from and make decisions based on that. The last time we saw the pullback was through this period here, starting in February and essentially running through till July. Then we saw a bullish candle on the monthly and we pushed higher. That was a 33% pullback from high to the higher low. So here is the high here for the most recent one to the higher low. Back into the cradle zone, 32% pullback. Back in, didn't quite test that old resistance level of 74,000, but it got very, very close within $456. So very, very nice pullback into the area that I had hoped to see it do it. And now with 1 day to go in April, or a day and a half, let's call it, We are currently 14.72% up for the month of April, a very bullish sign. Now, if Bitcoin can have a similar move to the upside, should this monthly candle break to the upside next month, well, last time we saw a move of 65%. If we saw a 65% move from the high of April's candle as it currently stands, it would put us at $158,000 for one Bitcoin. And whilst it might not happen exactly to that plan, we are in a very good position here. And if we can break the high of this monthly candle when it closes, it will be very, very good indeed. I think that we'll see that hype train kick off once again for Bitcoin. But it's not only Bitcoin. I take you now to the total market cap as it pushed higher again last week. We did see a very strong move from the total market cap, up 9.41%. Of course, Bitcoin was up 10%, so the total market cap only lagging ever so slightly, with some alts still not kicking into the buying frenzy that we saw on Bitcoin. And I think that's mainly because retail has not re-entered in a big way. Seems to be big players like Blackrock and MicroStrategy, and not so much the everyday people like you and me at this stage. Now, of course, you and I are here already. We are ready for it. But when we see that kick again, when we get above $100,000 on Bitcoin again, I believe that we will see a new wave of market enter. That retail entry means that we will probably see the alts have their day in the sun. Again, though, coming back and looking at the monthly chart here on the total market cap, it's really, really good. A very, very positive month. And I'd like to see 3 trillion reclaimed. Why? Well, it was kind of the old high as we pushed through over here. 3 trillion was our high back in November 2021. If we can get through that, we're back into really positive territory, and we'll be looking very, very good for not just Bitcoin, but for alts as well. Across the top 10, one of the things I really like is that we have seen this momentum carry across most of that top 10, which does make up the majority of our total market cap, of course. We've got a big push higher on Ethereum, even holding around this old support level back here about 1,763 or thereabouts. A bullish candle. We need to take out the high. We need to clear these highs on Ethereum for another leg up would be what I'm looking for. Binance also in a very similar place. In actual fact, I've been a little bit frustrated, to be honest. We've got a consolidation here on Binance, but we don't have any breakout levels to trade that fits my checklist trading strategy for the breakout. It is consolidating. It does look quite good. If it can clear this consolidation, I do see us legging above these highs, pushing above $620, and then blue skies ahead for the mighty Binance. It does also look quite good here. Higher low, higher high, pulling back. If we can clear from here, we'll have a solid platform for a leg up. Cardano also looking quite nice here. Higher low, a little higher low here, pushing to a higher high. It is in a daily uptrend. It's pulled back into the cradle zone. Now what I want to see is this next stage out. Same here with Doge, doing the same. Again, just look at this. Each of these top 10 are looking very, very similar. Solana the same. XRP is already pulled back and already moving out. Tron, not so much. It sort of walks to its own beat, so to speak. A higher low and a higher high. It needs to extend. Link looking really good. A bullish candle in an uptrend, broken to the high. It needs to break these highs as well. And AVAX also on that list. I was stalking a trade here as well, but the candle got a little bit big. But again, a break above this high, and we will look very, very good indeed. The thing that I'm really looking for market-wide is to take out these highs. Okay, whether it's AVAX, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's anything, we want to take these highs out and see some blue sky above us again. The reason for this is that right now I do notice a number of daily opportunities with the cradle strategy. They seem like opportunities immediately, but then when we go to our next high time frame, which is our third checklist item, what we're finding is that the 2-day is not correct. We do not have what we need for the 2-day candle to be able to take a daily trade, swing trade on any of these. And for us to get out of that, we need those moving averages to cross the right direction. For those of you who know the strategy, it's one of the things we look for. We take out those highs, we really do kick into another stage, which will be the second push to new higher highs in our trend. I'll use AVAX as an example again. Here was a high, pulled back. We broke this high over here. What we need now is for these trends to establish themselves really, really strongly. Also, for these to establish strongly, is to take out these levels here, meaning we'll have a new higher low and a new higher high. At that point in time, I think we'll see retail start to enter. I think the market will get much more exciting, and we'll see more Blackrock ETF buys. We'll see more of that groundswell underneath that is fueling this right now. I think that groundswell will help to add to the chart. The chart will then help to add to the groundswell, so on and so forth. Everything comes together and we start to run higher. So this week, it's really important that we take out these highs. I do not want to see a big dip this week. The way the charts are lining up, it doesn't look as though it's likely to happen. I said likely, it doesn't mean it won't happen. But probability speaking very, very loudly to me would push us above, would give us a higher probability of breaking these highs and then sending us into some form of a euphoric phase, I hope, and then further upside, really igniting this bull market. That's what we're after. As you go through this email, guys, down below, have a look at some of the trades coming out of the Discord group. Well done to all of you that are there. We have had a quiet period as the market was sideways for a long time, but look, great to see lots of you coming back, re-entering into the market and finding some healthy profits there as well. If you are not on the course, well, you want to be prepared for what's coming. And if that's what you want to do, then click the link in the email and jump on board ASAP. Join us in the Discord group. We will hold your hand every single step of the way throughout the course, all the tutorials, the cheat sheets, the checklists, the how-to guides, but also ask your questions in Discord. Have yourself a ripper week, ladies and gentlemen, and let's hope that we do see these highs taken out and things get pretty exciting. We'll see what I bring you this time next week, guys. Have a good one. Bye for now.